Live at Lunch. Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Modesto, corner of Burbank and Nicholson, welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro, Jordan Kitchens, Randy McKay, Scott Rabelais, Wes Reynolds.
Who? Wes?
Which part? Oh, the
Wes Reynolds?
The golf guy.
Huh?
Golf guy. Man, the golf guy's having a phenomenal year. And the Masters is right around the corner.
Yes,
so
yes.
we got time to talk with him about, of course, this week's tournament, but also in San Antonio.
He probably has made a couple of a couple of plays already
on the Masters.
I'm sure his sheet is not complete, but I'm sure.
Well, even Max yesterday when he was leaving, yeah, he's grinding on the Masters already. Max is, because he, trying to figure out what he wants.
Charlie's
to do.
been grinding on the Masters since Labor Day.
It's true.
He's grinding on the Masters with Wes and at the Cabana at Stadium Swim.
It's a pretty big tournament.
Yeah,
I can understand that.
I think it's great. March Madness. I like to get as much as I can out of one and then shift to, like the Major League Baseball is great and everything, but we're just going to be around for a long time and, kind of easing into it. And had a great day. Swept the board, Charlie. Plus 5.78 units on Otterlocks last night, so that was good. But, and then the Masters, because the NBA regular season is what it is, and then you get what you had last night. Like, remind you, when the stars come, a 60-point triple-double by Joker.
And they lost.
I know. Well, one of my guys, great player, tons of stats. What's he ever won?
Westbrook, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. And speaking of Westbrook, he was on that team, that UCLA team, the last time all four number ones. We had him, Collison, and Kevin Love were on that team. The most pro-ready, and they got housed by that Memphis team in the semifinals. And then you had
Steph Curry.
52. I mean,
he was.
It's just that's. What do you? I mean, it's that's good stuff, man.
Paying a little bit more attention to the NBA the last couple of weeks with the playoffs on the horizon.
Mm-hmm. You're kind of warming up. It's
a little bit. That Lakers game that we had last week where they won but didn't cover.
Yes. Yes.
I watched a good bit of the Warriors last night. I'll be honest with you. I caught up on the T-Wolves and the Nuggets this morning. I was not didn't make it around for the second half of that. I'd fallen asleep.
I'll tell you what, your NIT games were really good last night. It helps that you won, but it seems like these teams that make it to the NIT, they obviously care more, but they're so tight. These games, it just seems historically. I can remember one route, but usually, man, they are very, very tight. And, it's fun for Chattanooga. Why? Dog in the first round, win. Dog, the second round, win. Dog in the quarters, win. Dog in the semis, win.
Yeah.
And guess what? They're dogs tomorrow night.
Against Irvine.
I pull for Irvine. Did you watch that Big West final?
I did not.
Oh, it was so good with them in UC San Diego.
Yeah,
it was really, really. These are good teams. They're They're both well coached. They're good teams, man.
You know what the hardest thing for me? And I didn't watch the whole games last night. I was watching more LSU baseball, but I can't get it out of my head that the NIT finals are not Final Four is not in Madison Square Garden. I know this isn't the first year that they've done that, and nobody's going to accuse Indianapolis, Indiana, of not being basketball country. But the NIT in Madison Square Garden, the finals, it's just kind of one of those things that's rooted into my brain. So it's still a strange break for the eye for me.
You like, don't like?
I don't have a strong opinion about the NIT one way or the other.
Gotcha.
It's more
Yeah.
basketball. It's just you certain things you see, like they're going to move the Preakness this year because Pimlico's under construction.
Right.
Well,
the Belmont.
No, the Preakness.
The Belmont too.
Oh, the Belmont too. Okay,
The
yeah.
Belmont
Last
year
they ran it at
Saratoga.
Saratoga.
Yeah.
I'm used to seeing certain things, certain places.
I got you.
But it's not a big deal. Look, give me more basketball.
I wish the game, the regional, and I understand they have to do their dry run at the big stadium because they're selling the tickets. That's their biggest money maker. They're not giving up that money. It's just that simple. I mean, it sucks because you compare the basketball arena, the regional final and the Sweet 16 in Atlanta at the State Farm Center, downtown Atlanta, where Auburn was, and compare where Purdue had a lot of the crowd in Indianapolis at the RCA Dome or whatever it is now. And no comparison. And probably more fans, Purdue fans, in the building than Auburn. No comparison. I mean, it really came across the television broadcast.
Yeah. Lucas Oil?
It's
still Lucas Oil.
Hoosier Dome.
Yeah. We got a ton of day baseball. In fact, about 90% of the card is day baseball. Paul Skeens pitching here in about an hour against the Rays. And well, you know what I didn't notice until last night? I checked out one of the box scores. I was just going through XLSU guys. Man, Dylan Cruz, 0 for 15 to open the season. Not what we expected from him, but he'll get it going. He's too good a player not to, but he's 0 for 15 to open up.
Well, I mean, Jackson Holiday last year.
And they sent him back down for
last year.
Yeah,
he was in the opening day roster.
He's in the
lineup to start this year, but they had to send him down, and I mean, he's as big of a prospect as Cruz.
Yeah, 10 strikeouts in the 15 at bats. So that's not what you expect.
What did he hit when he came up last year?
I want to say he finished somewhere around
about 50 at bats, maybe.
I'd have to look. I thought he hit somewhere around 270. No, he didn't hit that well. Oh, I'm looking at it now. No, it was 220. It was 220. He got 119 at bats last year. So we'll see. Like I said, he's too good a player for that to last.
Well, we think so, and we hope so, but I mean,
he may have to go back down for 3 or 4 weeks.
You hope, but Charlie,
it's happened before.
There are guys exceed expectations. Starting their pro career, and some guys, don't. And now, it's not going to be for lack of work ethic and stuff like that. But I mean, how do you explain this Devers thing? What more can it be of him pouting or him in a funk because he didn't want to give up third base?
No,
and
I'm tempted.
He's way too good of a hitter. He's got way too long of a sample size to be in this type of deal.
Well, the Red Sox, I'm tempted to say it's the baseball karma coming back on him, but let me give you a more practical.
What did he do?
Third base is mine when it's not what's best for the team. And it's not just Bregman, okay?
Well,
the reason Bregman is Bregman, everybody knows what he is. But moving Bregman to third allowed them to put Christian Campbell at second base, who hit about 330 across the minor leagues last year. They wanted him to play. And he's hitting 375 through the first 5 games. So this was a whole team deal. It wasn't just Devers and Bregman. It was Devers and Bregman and Campbell. And whenever you say, I want this, because it's better for me and not better for the team.
Second.
He could have, and then Campbell wouldn't have a position. And this kid that was a phenomenal player, across 3 levels of minor leagues last year, they said he's ready to play.
Can't play short.
I
think he can.
I mean, you're gonna bench Trevor Story. I mean, you got a bunch of money there, so I don't
put him in left field.
Put him at third base. I mean,
no. I'm talking about Story.
I guess you could do that, I suppose. But my point is,
Bregman's a better shortstop than Story. That's not close.
Well, that's
not close.
That's where they got their money.
I understand, but you're talking about for the best of the team.
Well, what's best for the team is for this kid Campbell to be in the lineup right now at second base. You're going to be
committed to your money, or you're going to make up your mind? I mean,
right now they think that Bregman at third, Story at short, and Campbell at second. and Devers DHing is the best way
Okay,
to go.
one of the biggest examples of this in the past. Derek Jeter was not as good as A-Rod when he came to the Yankees at shortstop.
No,
He was not a Gold Glove shortstop like A-Rod was.
no, he wasn't.
And what was the best for the team there?
Well, they felt like A-Rod would be, as I remember it.
The sixth position, your glove, your fielding is a big deal.
They felt like A-Rod would be better at third than Jeter would have been. That the combination of A-Rod at third and Jeter at short was better than the other way around. Whether they were right or not is
Jeter
up
could
to
have gone to second. That'd be a nice pop to get out of your second baseman.
Wasn't Cano playing second base at that time and hit pretty
Cano
well?
could pinch hit.
Good
DH.
Lord, you didn't move 6 people now. But yeah,
Well, I mean, you got people moving all over.
yeah, I do.
I
moved
my
2
point
people.
is this is opinion. This is not set. I mean, Devers is not a slouch.
No.
He's not quite as good as Bregman at third, but I've watched too much of him, Charlie. He's pretty good.
Oh, they got $300 million in him for a reason. He's not gonna. This is not gonna last him. Oh, for what is he? 1
No,
for 15
but
or
I'm talking
whatever?
about just his fielding.
It
wasn't like he was a liability.
There was a play 2 nights ago that the ball's hit in the hole, and Bregman makes a play on it and gets to the ball and face plants. They were playing the Orioles. Ben was on the call, and he says, "Well, he face plants there, and he's trying to shovel the ball to second base, and the ball ends up getting into the outfield." And Ben made the comment. He goes, "Well, if Devers is there, the ball goes into left field, and he never makes the play on it." Okay, is Bregman going to make more plays than Devers for the season? Apparently they think so, because that's what they got. And again, don't discount this Campbell kid, who they are really, really high on, had a monster year last year and is off to a good start now. So we'll see.
I don't know if it's that, being
And what's true in
Devers,
April may not be true in
I don't think
August
Devers is
either.
completely out of hand. But now listen, he's a little bit of a head, but I'm just trying to be fair here. And I mean, if
He's 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts, something's wrong.
If Devers, if Devers, college teammate or played for the same college is doing a broadcast, he might have had a different opinion on it too.
He might have.
You know what I mean?
He might have.
I mean, I think Bregman's better at third, but I don't think. I never did I watch the Red Sox over the last 7-8 years and thought Devers was a liability over there.
I didn't either.
But I don't think he's Gold Glove material like Bregman can be, So.
Right now he's 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts.
15 strikeouts.
0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts. That's tough. We're here at Modesto, and boy, you know what is right around the corner is Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo is around the corner, Charlie.
Just about a little over a month.
We will be here for Cinco de Mayo. So what they do is they take over the whole parking lot or a big chunk of the parking lot, and I've been here before, and it's great. It's on May this year. I mean, I'm sorry, Monday. Jeez.
It's in May every year.
Yes, stop. Okay.
Too easy.
Check our social media for updates. And look, don't forget baseball or softball game day specials are available. Or if you want to pick something up, go watch the tennis teams. Tennis teams are rocking, man. Really, really doing great. That's fun as well. Free admission. Go check them out. Go support them. They're really doing a great job. Best of 225 voting is open. Vote for Modesto for best tacos, best Mexican, best local happy hour, and best craft cocktail menu. So please support our friends over here at Modesto. So open air edition here at Live at Lunch, and we're excited over here that we're in the shade, get the fans going, got a little TV. We got tons of afternoon baseball. We've got a few picks for you as well.
Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And today's show brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors can work with you as well as your business partners and tax professionals to make sure all of your retirement goals are achieved. Doesn't matter what stage of life you're in, your age, or your financial situation. Coastal Capital Advisors will tailor-make a plan for you, and I can tell you for sure because that's what they've done for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online CoastalCapitalADV.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA SIPC. We haven't done very much on the draft so far, and we're not going to jump headfirst into it this week. But I gotta say something before next week. You're going to be out. We'll probably ramp it up, and we're 3 weeks away from tomorrow is the NFL draft. So we're going to see a gazillion mock drafts.
Growing a beard and getting a cowboy hat for it?
Maybe.
I
If I thought it would help,
I'd recommend it. I think
okay,
it does.
all right. I can bring the Muppets with me. I still got my fish shirt. I'm good.
There you go.
Field Yates did a mock draft today for ESPN. Like I said, these things are a dime a dozen. We do them ourselves. Nobody's ever 100% right. We just like to gauge what's going on. I have said for the better part of 3 months since the season ended, Saints almost can't miss with drafting somebody at number 9. There are needs everywhere on the roster. As long as they don't reach for somebody that's supposed to go in the 3rd round, there's very little they could do. I wouldn't draft a running back, but if they did, they need a running back, okay? And literally every position. This one managed to aggravate me, though. Field Yates has the Saints taking Shamar Stewart. He's a defensive end from Texas A&M. This is his reasoning on this. I've said this about Stewart throughout the pre-draft process. The general manager who uses a high pick on him will need a lot of cachet because Stewart's a risky pick. He has only 1.5 sacks in each of his 3 collegiate seasons. This is somebody 6'6" and 290 pounds and can run. The Saints haven't been afraid of taking toolsy pass rushers. That's why Mickey Loomis fits this GM bill perfectly. They've taken toolsy first-round players in the past like Peyton Turner and Marcus Davenport. This would be the ultimate big swing given Stewart's upside at the position. Okay, they draft him. I'm out. I'm not even watching the rest of the draft. They take him. If your reasoning, okay, and I like Field Yates. I read his stuff. He's good, okay? If your reasoning for taking somebody like Shamar Stewart is, well, you've taken Peyton Turner and Marcus Davenport in the past, that's your comp? That's the reasoning? How many times is the Saints?
It's not the Saints saying this.
No, I understand.
Okay, well, who's going to say that when
this is a guy that's on the
even
board,
Loomis
though.
is not that dumb. Well, I mean, Charlie, who's going to say, hey, yeah, we got, based on our 2 flops that we invested first-round picks in the past, we're going to go with this guy again.
No, that's not what the Saints. That's not what the Saints would say. But the Saints are very.
No, this is an indictment on Loomis by a journalist covering the league, and okay, join the club.
The Saints have a history of valuing these measurable guys. What's the acronym, Max? RAS, yeah, RAS, okay? It's these gigantic guys who can run, and they look great getting off the bus. They just can't play. And that's what Stewart is. For 3 years, he looks like Tarzan, and he plays like Jane. Why would you take another guy like that? Why would you even think about taking him?
They hadn't taken him.
I know. That's why I'm saying I don't want to jump off the deep end. I just wanted to say, for the record, before we get too far into this would be one guy that I don't want him to take.
Okay.
I'm down on the record now.
Let me say
it aggravated me.
Let me say.
Remember how the other day you got aggravated about LSU basketball in the middle of with nothing. Every now and then something just hits you wrong. This hit me wrong this morning.
This is nothing. This is nothing from the Saints.
I understand. But this is a guy they could take. Before I say, because I've said this on the air a number of times, they can almost take whoever they want. And I'm going to be fine with it because it's going to feel some need somewhere.
But now that Phil Yates, writes this, now they can't take anybody.
They can't take him. I don't want to
you say you did, but based on this article, you changed your mind.
No, I was
yesterday. They can't screw this up.
Right.
There's no bad pick.
Shamar
now
Stewart,
because Phil Yates says this.
Yes.
There's a bad pick.
Yes, there is.
You didn't know this guy's his production or lack thereof before you read Phil Yates.
I knew all about that. And
you need to do your own homework, man.
I have been doing my own homework. He has not been mocked this high that I have seen before. This is the first time I've seen him mocked.
And the Saints won't be, and this is the obvious, measurables versus production.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's played at Texas A&M. Yeah. He's played for how many years?
3.
Okay. I mean, this is the closest thing to evaluate players in the league, right? There's the most players. SEC has the most pro players of anything. There have been, again, like Dylan Cruz or whoever, there have been busts and there have been, successes. Some exceed, and he is. The one thing I'll say about his position, defensive line, if you don't have that dog in you, if you don't have that motor in you at any level. I remember one that we get to mind, we went to check out. Went to see Stevie Lee play against Catholic in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Man, he looked beautiful. Beautiful in the uniform. He didn't get after it a whole lot.
Right.
And so this guy, if he's got all these measurables, he can't be getting after it a ton. And so, that would be, and listen, that's from guys like Ed Ogeron, who we've evaluated defensive linemen for a long, long time in conversations with him and some other coaches that I'm friends with, and that talked to. No, they, and I'd run from a guy like that, And
that was
I have not
point.
I've not broken down his film to the extent of maybe the Saints or any other, but the production. I mean, that's hard. How much is he being double teamed? You could be, They're defensive linemen that don't get a tackle, especially like nose tackles that can, have such an impact on a game with no production.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
This guy may be Bruce Smith at the next level. I don't know, but there are a lot safer players to take at this point.
But if you look at that position more than most, I think there could be you better go with production more than. The measurables.
I just had to get it out. I realized they haven't done anything. This is one article from one guy.
This is ridiculous. I had to go on vacation now.
I had to get this out, okay?
So that you dumb.
So that you can't.
What are you doing?
You can't. But
this guy wrote something.
This is so you can't say if they take him and I criticize it. You can't say you were okay with them taking everybody. No, I'm not okay with them taking.
Okay, but you're getting all upset because this guy wrote it. What don't we know about? But you. It's not like the Saints are saying it. You're reacting as if it came.
It reminded me that they took Peyton Turner and Marcus Davenport. That was what aggravated me.
But they didn't have any hits as well on some of the on some of their draft picks. Of course they did.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
You say they're only their hits or guys on production and not any. There's been no measurable guys like this at other positions that have been hits.
A measurable guy that wasn't productive because Alvin Kamara was.
I mean, the guy that maybe rose through the workouts to the combine after the season's over.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly.
Okay,
what you're saying, but there have been some guys. Look, they've taken guys from small schools that have projected out that have done really well.
Well, we know that. Okay. We know who's that. That's Peyton's deal.
Yeah, and
he used to drive Roscoe crazy.
They've gotten some production out of guys that we might not have thought, and they've missed on some guys that came from some bigger schools. Like
Davenport was a big risk. He was playing different positions.
Gigantic risk, and he was actually way better than Peyton Turner.
But you know what, man? When he was healthy, he showed some flashes, Charlie.
Yeah, when he was healthy.
But you can't.
When he had that 1 year where he had the 9 sacks, yes, and I thought, well, he's going to be a dude, and
he showed some flashes. So it wasn't obviously the consistency in the overall career. It's a disappointment. Nobody's arguing that, but he at least showed you why they invested in that. But
somebody in New Orleans is highly productive when they're playing. They just don't play that much. Got it.
No, I'm talking about that.
I know.
With a similar profile that they picked that hit.
I'm trying to think of one. Just this massive projection. I mean,
I mean, I know a guy who was productive that, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, but Cooks was highly productive, but he was not what they thought he was. You can see that after the first game. They were trying to do things with him with Reggie Bush, and he couldn't do. So,
Shaheed was just a guy who could run, and was a productive guy for them.
Shaheed's really good.
But
Shaheed's good.
It's not like he had monster numbers in college.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so I'll give you that one.
But they didn't have a high pick on him.
No, he was a free agent.
Yeah. But he's a guy that, kind of a project guy. But it's a totally different story. Yeah. You take this guy as a free agent. You're like,
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham's a great one.
Jimmy Graham.
I mean, guy, if he stays with the Saints, he's in the Hall of Fame. If he stays with the Saints, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, we agree on that.
Thank God. All right. United Community Bank with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of South Louisiana for over 50 years. Running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. Contact Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and Prentice Wilkes. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Let's bring in the big dog, Randy McKay. Randy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you guys doing? Enjoying the Final Four so far of the tournament?
Yeah, but we've been sidetracked a little bit today. Charlie's upset because he read something about criticizing the Saints front office.
No, they were actually defending the Saints front office. Said he had cachet. I don't think he's got cachet.
Randy, would you describe the Saints front office as having cachet?
Yeah.
That's a common term that you use a lot, Randy.
I don't know. Later the last 2 years, I think it's been a little disorganization, but we'll wait and see.
I'm throwing you off. I'm sorry to throw you this.
Salary cap frees up a little bit, maybe they'll be okay.
Yeah, clean up the cap. Yeah, can we start with that? Cap cachet. No, they don't have that. Sorry to throw you a curveball. We're just having a little fun today. We do appreciate you posting the college hockey picks on your Twitter account, so at RR39. So, and I got to tell you, Randy, I know very little about hockey, but I've been around sports all my life. And that UConn, Penn State, those kids were getting after it. Did you see the interview after? I mean, this kid is out of breath. I mean, man, them kids, they are trying their asses off, man. It's fun to watch. I see why you love it so much.
Yeah, it's one of the best tournaments of the year, and it doesn't get enough recognition, unfortunately. And thankfully, there's some betting markets up on it. Few books put some pretty decent fair odds, or some that don't put fair odds on it too, that should be called out. But that at least there was some action on it. Yeah, it's a good break from the basketball where all these favorites are covering. Actually, some underdogs win in hockey, so it's a little bit more fun sport. And then we got the Frozen Four here, same weekend as the Masters, the week after here, the Final Four.
Well, we do business with DraftKings outlet here. Certainly basically employed by Bet Rivers. I mean, we do business with BetMGM, and if you're going to do this regularly, you have to. I would suggest 5 outs. And they're out there, and there's variance, man. You just a half point, a whole point that turns a winner into a loser, or to a push, or loser into a push, or the juice over time, that's automatic. It requires a little bit more work, but there are apps that will give you the best number as soon as you put it up. And so, Randy, you do this for a living, which makes you a professional handicapper. You don't have a real job like me and Charlie, okay? We question your work ethic, Randy.
Some people that question whether we have a real job too.
Yeah. Well, we're drawing a paycheck, so
right?
We pay taxes on it. How many outs do you have?
I have my when I'm in Colorado here, I have probably about 20 that at my disposal anytime I need them. So, yeah, it's good to have that many. Like you guys were talking too on some of these college hockey lines. There was, like I bet UConn and lost in that overtime game. It was probably 20-30 cents off on the line between a couple of them books there. I got plus 110 when the line was minus 110 or so. So, yeah, you can find different stuff. So, anybody out there, make sure you sign up for them all. Enjoy the bonuses, especially in state of Louisiana where you guys are at, and see which one you like the best. And if you can, probably just keep them all.
Yeah, and the other thing is, so your college hockey is our college baseball, and there are lines on this, and so we like to play some of the college baseball, and there's variance in those lines. There's no doubt. Some just have a run lines when it gets to be too big, and money. The juice is certainly, and what's funny about them? It seems like a lot of them have their one little thing that they go for. This one's dog friendly. This one's juice friendly. This one's bonus friendly. That it seems like everyone has kind of this one. It seems to have a bigger betting menu. And has things available, but college baseball is out there a lot. So when is the Frozen Four? Is it this weekend? It's a 2 weeks.
Masters weekend.
It's the Masters weekend, the week after the Final Four always. And
okay.
It's in St. Louis this year. And then it's coming up. It's in Vegas in a couple of years. I might definitely go to that one.
Gotcha. You're not going to San Antonio this weekend, are you?
Yes, I am. I'm heading to San Antonio on Thursday with our group again that you met, Jimmy, the guys. I'll say hi to them for you. And we've been to San Antonio a few times, so we know the city pretty well. Pretty fun place to go. So getting pretty excited, getting ready for that tomorrow.
Did my show from the Hard Rock balcony over on the Riverwalk and had a friendly conversation with Jerry Tarkanian.
It wasn't friendly. It was not friendly
when he was getting in a little trouble, but it's a little bit of a walk, but it is walking distance to the Alamo Dome, and so no, that's a good spot. I love the NABC being in town, the National Association of Basketball Coaches. So all of these college coaches are in town, and shoot, I would be there for a whole week, but I'll be on a plane, Randy, for the Final Four. So. Cross my fingers. Max, if you have Wi-Fi on the plane, I'll be able to watch the Final Four, through my cable provider.
Should be able to. You might have to pay a little extra for that boosted Wi-Fi on the plane. I don't know who you're flying with, but
it's an international flight. It's a pretty big plane.
Okay.
I
wish you the best.
It's a
pretty big ocean.
I'm going to get stuck with nothing. You know that, Randy? I'm going to get stuck with. Max, be on the alert for assistance. My technical assistant, Randy. So
Jimmy's going to be mad. The plane rider next to him has the same TV on the same channel. You got to have multiple TVs.
That's fine with me. I'll look at somebody else's in a heartbeat. I don't have to listen to it. I just need to watch it. So. You and you guys on anything, and how did you manage? I'm worried about you because it's been so chalk heavy. The last dog to win was Sunday night of opening weekend with Ole Miss against Iowa State.
Yeah, but the only dog we really ended up taking was Texas Tech. So we could have used an outright there, but. Getting them to cover there and look like they were going to maybe blow that there against Florida when they got hot at the end. But that was kind of a frustrating game for them not to win. But that was the last one we kind of played here and playing some of these Crown games and doing okay on those. But other than that, nothing for the Final Four. Maybe lean Houston. Seems like bet against Duke again here. It seems like it's getting too high. And of course, you don't know in the other game if that Broom's going to play or not, so I kind of wait and see on the Florida Auburn.
Oh, I could tell you this. He going to play. I can't tell you what percentages that it'll be, but that dude will play. He might not last long, but he's going to try. I mean, that guy he's the heart and soul in their team, and it's just that it's those inner things. I mean, he will – some of the teammates have complained a little bit. He can be a little too hard on them when they ever do something stupid or lazy. I mean, he does half of Bruce Pearl's work for him. So he's saying, I can't go. I'm done. Well, he's back out there, rebounded with one arm, shooting, knocking down threes. The good thing, obviously, it's just not his shooting arm. So it's his right arm, not his left. But and Randy, that was just so weird. Did you try and middle/hedge during that Texas Tech game, because you had plenty of opportunity, at 10 and up 9?
I had Michigan State, so I took a little on Auburn to get off my 39-1, so that was okay. But I didn't do anything with the Texas Tech so much, but
I'm talking about in game, middle or hedge, with Texas Tech.
Yeah, I didn't touch any of that.
Okay.
I took the loss there, but I had enough on the spread where it was okay. So got that going. And then lost with that Michigan State 39-1. I had, it was pretty live, so I was pretty happy with how that came out, even though it didn't finish out.
Okay, so you hedged your future on Michigan State, taking some Auburn. You took money line, I would suppose. Which side were you on Friday night, where Ole Miss is covering for 39 minutes and 20 seconds? But, I mean, I've seen buzzer beaters to backdoor the spread all the time. I've never seen one hit the support, the heel, and drop in. I've never seen that. No, I mean, I've seen free throws all the time, but I mean, a 25-footer to hit and just drop in at the buzzer.
It just died.
No, that's what it does. It
was a brick, really. It was a brick that went in.
No, it's the worst. I mean, nobody aims, nobody's shooting for the support. No, it is a horrible shot. I mean, it's worse than going glass. I mean, it is bad. What side were you on that one?
That worked out okay. I needed that 3-pointer, so that was a good one for me. But what an agonizing way. I mean, just hits the support there and just kind of drops in there. I was at the Maristar there in the casino, and the whole casino went out. It was outraged. So it was kind of a funny scene. It was a good time to be in a casino to see all that. So what a crazy game.
It stirred a lot of social media discussion and debate, and where Ole Miss is covering for, all but less than a minute of the game, but then that type of shot and that style of shot that hit the support and just drop in at the buzzer, does that constitute a bad beat? Because there's a lot of debate on social media.
Probably more of a bad loss than a bad beat, I think. You see these quite a bit. Probably the worst beat I've ever had is showing on SportsCenter all the time is when Josh Rosen fumbled the ball and the Stanford guy took it for a touchdown on that last play. That's got to be the worst one I think I have ever had.
I was in Disney World with Ethan watching late. He's playing with his toys that he bought, and money line, spread, the whole shebang on Duke in the Belk Bowl. I mean, they were just setting up for a short field goal. They were kneeling the ball for it was an extra point. It was at the 2-3 yard line, and they fumbled there. It was.
That was a bad day.
it was as tough as they get. So anyway, who y'all on in the Final Four, Randy?
Just looking at probably Houston, like I said before, and
okay.
And then the second or the other game, the Florida, Auburn's kind of waiting on it. I'd probably, if you want to take a stand right now, Florida probably be a good chance to take a look, but I haven't pulled on anything yet in that. So just waiting, maybe even see how the shooting goes in some of the practices, and maybe look at some first half unders as well. That has worked well in San Antonio in the past.
Yeah, the first half unders were profitable. Max, what was that final total?
19-9.
19-9. So we do first half totals for the first round minus the teams that have played the play-in, because part of the angle is the jitters, early. So we leave those 4 games alone where the 2-12s and the 2-16s advance, but all that's right. So 19-9 was a nice run, really strong on that Friday, the first day. So what is different about this Duke run where those lines are inflated? And just like the lines were inflated the last couple of years with UConn, especially last year, what is different in your mind where you're going with Houston?
Not too much different. I mean, this Duke team looks about as strong as UConn did last year, but I just, the veteran leadership on this Houston team and, familiarity of playing each other might give Houston a little bit of edge here and keep this game closer than a lot of people think.
All right. Charlie, you have anything else for Randy?
I was just going to ask you guys, and this is on the women's side, so I don't know how much he does with women's basketball. The number one seed is an 8.5-point dog in the national semifinals. I don't think I've ever seen that at the men's or the women's. UCLA is the number one overall seed, and UConn's an 8.5-point favorite.
Well, I saw a 3 favorite 8.5 over a 2 Saturday with Notre Dame and TCU.
And this is the number one overall seed, not just the 1 seed, but the number one overall seed.
Well, UConn is the odds on favorite. This just in. There's some.
And they've got the number one player in Beckers who's going to be the number one.
Who's hot?
Yeah,
and they're public.
Right.
You mean does Gino have a little bit more skins on the wall than the UCLA coach?
He's been there a few times.
The UCLA coach.
Yeah. He's
been their first Final Four?
Yes, it is. He's been 20 of the last 21 tournaments that they've played. I think they've been in the Final Four. Is it that? I have that stat right, Max?
I can look it up.
Maybe 17 out of 18.
Charlie's trying to warn you off of laying that chalk with the UConn. So, Randy. But.
Sounds like they treat the women's as bad as they do the men's. It sounds like to me if UConn's that big a favorite against the number one seed.
They lost games early, and they were but so the overall. But I mean, nobody's doing what they did in Columbia, South Carolina, when they beat them by like 35 or whatever it was. I mean, at their place, and it's the most. It's the best program. They've unseated them the last
16 of 17.
16 of 17.
16 of 17. 24 total Final Fours.
Something like that.
Randy, thank you, buddy. Good luck this weekend. And Charlie and Max will be with you next week when I'm on vacation. Good luck this weekend. Have fun, man. Tell the guys I said hello. Your annual trip to the Final Four.
We'll do. Have a great trip, and good luck, everybody out there.
All right. Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Our great team at Legacy Title. Ashley Bonham-Donald, Mariana Broussard-Haynes, Adrian Reese-Galata, Michael Platt, and Natalie and Bradford Smith. Of course, Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title. Buy, building, refinancing. Nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Modesto, live at Lunch 104.5, ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, LouisianaSports.net, 104.5ESPN.com. Cachet, defined as the state of being respected or admired. Prestige. That's from the Oxford. State of being admired.
I would call, yeah. Well,
that's not exactly the word I would use to describe.
Field Yates, he said Loomis has cachet.
He said a guy that took Shamar Stewart would have to have some cachet.
That's right.
And Mickey Loomis fits the bill perfectly.
Oh,
Harold, you see what I'm getting at here?
No. That's not the Saints' fault.
I know.
I mean, but
there's plenty of stuff I can blame on Lewis. I can't blame this on him.
Oh, that's a miss. Oh, wow. You have any other jerseys besides this 4?
Right. Just wanted to say. Hour number 2, straight ahead here, Modesto, live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Enjoying the patio here at Modesto. Fantastic weather. Got a nice little breeze coming through here. And we are just a little over a month away from Cinco de Mayo. We're going to be back here for Cinco de Mayo.
Put it on your calendar, Monday, May 5th. That's right. Cinco de Mayo this year is in May.
Every year.
Insert joke here. Yes.
Good to know.
I misspoke. Shut up, Max.
It's
you got the crappy headset again.
Cinco de Mayo's got a little cachet.
know your spot, boy.
Yeah.
So anyway, Cinco de Mayo
ears.
over
Ouch.
here, Monday, May 5th. We're going to be out here. We're almost positive that we'll be out here for that show. We're usually here on a Wednesday, but man, we're looking excited to it. I've been here for previous Cincos over here at Modesto, and now we're bigger and better for this Cinco with our new addition that we do a lot of private events and extra room for dining, and going to be a lot of fun over here. So it's kind of inside, outside, a little bit of everything. Weather's usually pretty good. Got a lot of things set up, music and tents, food tents in the parking lot. So we're blowing it out for Cinco de Mayo, Monday, May the 5th this year.
Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from the Advocate, a guy with a lot of cachet, I would say. Scott, good afternoon. How are you?
I think that's good. I hope so.
You just don't want it to be Mickey Loomis cash.
Right, not that kind of
okay.
kind of cachet. All right,
Do not associate me with Mickey Loomis.
Put a bow on the women's basketball season. What you expected, what you didn't expect, how it finished, the whole season, start to finish.
Okay. So we'll just wrap that up as tightly as possible. A very good season, like making it to the Elite Eight and winning 31 games is a very good season. It's exactly the same record they had last year. I thought with the nucleus of Morrow and Williams and Flau'jae Johnson that they could go really far and contend for the national championship, and they did. But in the end, their uncertainty and shall we say underperformance at the point guard position and lack of depth value in the post position probably end up being LSU's undoing a little bit. Their 6 losses. 2 were to Texas, 1 was to South Carolina, and then 1 was UCLA, top 5 teams. So all 3 teams that are in the Final Four. So I think this pretty much delineates that LSU was, good with a chance to be great, to borrow y'all's line, but they weren't able to quite be one of those teams that was, really a national contender, unless somebody got knocked out, like a UCLA got knocked out of their way, and they cruise into the Final Four that way. So a very good season. Maybe it's a tad disappointing now because LSU has achieved so much since Kim Mulkey has been here, but nonetheless, top 8 is still one of the best seasons LSU's ever had in women's basketball. They've been to the Elite Eight, I think, 11 times now. So it's a top 10 season, but you hope for more. And now obviously they kind of go back to the drawing board a bit with Morrow leaving and somebody surprisingly leaving. Now we see Lafayette Poas in the transfer portal this morning as well. So you certainly know what their needs are: point guard and forward.
So can I ask you where LSU would have been, they were underdogs in the regional final against UCLA. UCLA's an 8.5-point dog. This was, had they even won, they'd have been a double-digit underdog. Why, with all the resources and Mulkey and all of her expected, why is the roster not more competitive at the elite level?
I think they were certainly hoping that one of the transfers they got in, like Shayande Wilson or Miracle Shepherd, in particular, would be the answer they were looking for at the point guard position. And then forward, Alea Del Rosario was a top 10 national recruit, a couple of years ago, and she just hasn't panned out. She's someone who could be giving them a presence inside. I'm sure that was the plan, and she just didn't pan out. And Jersey Wolfenbarger is 6'5", a transfer they got last year from Arkansas, a former 5-star. But she's someone who blossomed, one of these players who was a guard and blossomed into being a forward, and still trying to get that down. I think Samaya Smith, had she stayed for next year, would be, I don't know, all conference player, but certainly a better player. We saw she played very well in the NCAA tournament. And so, I think they're just a little bit off, Jimmy. I don't think it's a huge delineation. That said, women's basketball has always tended to be very stratified to me. You have teams there's a plateau, a small group of teams right at the top. South Carolina and UConn and USC this year and UCLA this year. That's 5 or 6 teams. Then you drop down to another plateau, and then there's some other teams. And you drop down to another plateau, way down there. LSU is on that second plateau, and getting up to and staying on that top plateau is not easy. Now they have the number 1 recruiting class in the country coming in. That's great. Obviously, a lot of freshmen can't. Some can contribute right away, like Flau'jae Johnson and Michaela Williams did, and some can't. And but they're going to have to hit the portal again to get post players and a point guard, and we'll see where they go from there. Yeah, it can be something that can be very easily improved on, and they're a top 10 national championship contender again next year. Or it's another year of being close but not quite. I don't think they're going to be any worse than close but not quite, as long as Kim Mulkey's there.
So let me ask you about. I'll ask you about 3 players: one at LSU and 2 that are in the transfer portal. The one at LSU is obviously Flau'jae Johnson. She can go pro if she wants. We spent a lot of time discussing, her off the court opportunities in music, with NIL and all that stuff. So just your thoughts, up or down, whether you think she will come back or not. And then the 2 biggest names in the transfer portal: Olivia Miles from Notre Dame, who would have been the number 2 pick in the draft. This year is in the transfer portal instead, and Tanaya Latson from Florida State, who was the leading scorer in the country and who saw their season end here in Baton Rouge. LSU, I'm pretty sure is in the mix there. I don't know if they've got a shot at Miles or not, but you can kind of fill in the blanks with those 3 players, all of them big difference makers.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, Flau'jae Johnson, just after hearing her comments after the game, how she said she would like a national championship that's kind of more hers, or at least go for a championship. As she was a freshman, and obviously was a big contributor in 2023, but not as big as Angel Reese and Alexis Morris and some players like that. I think she comes back. We can all be made fools in this transfer portal era, right? By making predictions, right? Very clearly, but I think she comes back. She doesn't make a big. Obviously, it's the dream to play professionally, but she doesn't make a big financial gain. It might hinder her financially in some ways not to be an All-American at LSU for another season. So she's got the money, she's got the endorsement. It certainly doesn't hurt her to stay and play at LSU another year. I think she comes back. Olivia Miles, obviously, a very interesting thing. Look, if LSU got Olivia Miles, they're like 1 player away probably from getting. You could maybe, I forget which freshman is a forward, but one of their freshman 5-star players who's coming in as a forward, you could say maybe start there. Then they're one post player away from getting into, that elite group of maybe of teams that are national championship contenders for next year. And then Tanaya Latson, if Michaela Williams is coming back, which I definitely think she is, and if Flau'jae Johnson's coming back, I don't know if there's room for Tanaya Latson quite. I mean, you make room, obviously, for a great player and a great scorer, don't get me wrong, but you have players like her who are really, really good, who are all SEC and, All-American caliber players in Johnson and Williams. So I don't know that makes a big difference. Another player, Charles, to watch in the portal is Katie Koval, another player who's leaving Notre Dame, the 6'5" center. LSU was very close to landing her a couple of years ago, and supposedly the story was her parents wanted her to go to a great school like Notre Dame, but she's in the portal as well, and she would be, I say perfect, but very, very good for LSU if they could get her.
All right, the Final Four is this weekend, Friday and Sunday. 3 seeds and a 2 seed. The 2 seed's a favorite in UConn. Who do you like? Who do you think cuts the nets down?
Who do I like, or who do I think cuts the nets down? Those are 2 different.
Well, okay. Who do you think is going to win?
Who do I think is going to win? I don't. Let's say process of elimination. I hate to say this a little bit. I don't think it's Texas, because Texas wins, but they just don't impress you. They just don't. They just get by. South Carolina's kind of been getting by too, but their track record is better. UCLA, I just don't think they're ready to make the leap all the way to the national championship. I think it's going to be South Carolina and UConn, and I'm gonna go with UConn and Buchers. If she's I think she had a 40-point game in the tournament the other day, right? I'm gonna go with UConn over South Carolina.
Okay. The gymnastics team on their way to Penn State. They're the number 1 seed for the first time. Last thoughts about that before the NCAA tournament gets underway?
Yeah, they compete tomorrow night at 6 o'clock in the Penn State Regional. 2 semifinals, 2 4-team semifinals. The winners, the two best teams in the semifinal advance to Saturday's regional final. 2 best teams there advance to the national championships in 2 weeks in Fort Worth. Look, anything can happen, and as Jay Clark often says, and Jay's a little bit of a half glass empty kind of guy. If anything can happen, and every year you see a top team knocked out of in the regional round this year. It's just kind of how the parity has grown in gymnastics. But as you said, they're the number 1 overall seed. They won the SEC regular season. They won the SEC championship meet. There's no reason for them not to. They're about as healthy as they've been. There's no reason for them not to advance to tomorrow and then on Saturday. No reason at all.
All right, Rab, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week when you will be on the verge. You will be, I believe, somewhere in Georgia, if I'm remembering right. I got my dates right here.
Yeah, I think
okay.
I think I got it. I think I know what you're talking about. I'll schedule my theme with Chairman Ridley to be able to talk with you guys next week. So.
Yeah, safe travels to the Masters, and we'll talk to you from Augusta next week.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Oh, we are brought to you by the Thibodaux Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. Right now, 55% off of all your lawn and garden items, all of your tools, all of your potting soils, all of your seeders, all of your edgers, all of these things. You can go to the website, doitbest.com/Thibodaux Store, and your turf builders as you get into the spring, everything ready to go. Big discounts up to 55% on all your lawn and garden items. And Cajun Cooking Specialty Cookware. You can get this off the website as well. Shop right there. Shipped right to your door, Jimmy.
Yeah, the Cajun Cookware is where it's at, man. I mean, look, if you're an outdoor cook, home chef, either do it in your backyard, on site, different tailgates or outdoor events, festivals, fairs, things like that. Man, they have everything for you. Cajun Classic cast iron cookware, outdoor stoves with single, double, and triple burners, charbroil, oilless turkey fryers, jambalaya pots and burners of all sizes and price points, and crawfish boil rigs, burners, pots, strainers, washers, gadgets galore. It's awesome, man. It is really, really. I was so excited to go check it out, man. The Thibodaux Store, from the same people who brought you the Pierre Part Star for over 100 years.
900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, and online at doitbest.com/Thibodaux Store. Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
Oh, yes, indeed. So we get the golf picks from Wes last week. The first name out of his mouth, Min Woo Lee. Broke his maiden, and he gets out there. What a Friday, second, third round, man. Third round was unbelievable. Paired up with Scheffler. And I think he beat him in the third round by 6 strokes. Is that right, Max? 6?
Think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wow. So, well played, Mr. West. Good job, my man.
Yeah, we now after he's won, now we got to do it with the Ric Flair emphasis. The men woo me.
Well, you know who was wooing, and he made sure to tell me, and that's our sponsor of this segment. That's Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. He said, "Please tell Wes I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan." So he was doing his own Ric Flair on Sunday evening. The phone. Very few people. I put a reverse jinx on us when Max, maybe Friday or Saturday.
It was Friday, yeah.
Friday. I said, well, at least one thing is, Min Woo can't keep it up. So I put the reverse jinx, and then it was crickets on the phone until finally he hit that putt about 3 inches away. For the tap in for the whole thing. Did we dodge a bullet in your opinion, Wes, on Scheffler's approach shot on 18?
Probably so, after Min Woo, who really hadn't hit that many bad shots, save for the one on number 8. And I got to give a credit to his caddy, who's Shane Lowry's old bag man, and won the Open at Royal Portrush with him a couple years ago. He said, "No, dude, don't kneel down and try to chop it out. Give me the club, take the unplayable." Yeah. And he saved par on that par 5. Now, he hit that bad one on 16 in the water because I'm monitoring the live prices, of course, to say, okay, when do I have to get out or if I have to get out. And he was at one point minus 8,000 on the back 9. And then he hits it in the water. And then Scotty, I think, had gone 3 or 4 birdies in a row. Gary Woodland was right in the mix. He had posted 19 under. So, where you had to get out and hedge off at least a little bit because it's like, oh, man, can this guy keep it together? Because he couldn't keep it together when he was leading the Players a few weeks ago. But he's a talented guy, and he really fit that course. Drive it long, hit it all over the place, but just be long, and then putt the lights out, which he does. So driver putter, that was the order of the day in Houston, and that makes that event relatively straightforward to handicap.
And it paid off on Sunday because how many fairways did he hit? It wasn't many.
Not very many. Not very many at all.
And it's funny how he's. And it caught me by surprise a little bit. Now, understand, you, Wes, you and Max have both said, this is the Bombers. It's not really penalized, for, if you're in the rough or even outside of it. I mean, he's outside the crowd areas, multiple times, and no problem at all because he's got a short iron that he's hitting with, although it's not the best lie. But, I mean, it's him on Saturday standing next to Scotty Scheffler, and the announcer saying, "That's a great job by Scheffler." Now, he's not up to where Win Woo is, but I'm like, wait, man, this guy's half his size, and this guy's longer than him. It's a trip, man.
Yeah, no question about it. But Scotty Scheffler finishes runner-up again in Houston. I think that's the 3rd time he's done it, and there were some concerns a little bit. It's like, hey, he's not the Scotty Scheffler of last year, even though that was one of the greatest years in the history of the PGA Tour. But now all of a sudden it's like, oh, man, here he goes again. He looks in prime state for Augusta, as does Rory McIlroy, by the way, who made a nice little rally on Sunday.
I think Scheffler's as comfortable as I've seen him with his putter in a while now, and I think the way he played in Houston, I take him even more seriously for the Masters. Max, you too?
Hard to go back-to-back at the Masters. And I like that at least he seemed a little less agitated. He's looked a little feisty, Scotty Scheffler, a little whiny at times, but seemed a little bit more composed in his home state this time around. So a good result for him.
Wes, what you think?
Yeah, look, I think he is going to be right in the mix. I'm probably not going to bet him and try to take him on again, and that hasn't worked out at the Masters the last few years necessarily. But I do have a few guys on the card. I have Ludwig Gobert already on the card for the Masters next week. I have Justin Thomas, but I may end up making my donation to Rory McIlroy again because this looks like, every year we say that, right? It's his year. It's his year. Sure, he's already won twice, and he won at Pebble, and he won the Players, and they were both elevated in signature events. So this is the best form Rory has been in now. He's talking about that elbow issue, so I don't know if he's playing possum or what, or trying to lower expectations. That might be the game he's playing because he's known to do that. But, but I think that this is going to be pretty open, but those top 2 guys are certainly going to be hard to beat.
Speaking of Ludwig, he's on top of the odds board this weekend at the Valero in Texas at 12-1, most of them. Connors Fleetwood looking for his first win in America, so we'll see about that. Who you got this week, Wes?
Yeah, I think some of those guys you might want to play like top 20, top 30s. I did not play any outrights because if you look, 9 of the last 12 years, the event before the Masters, because remember it used to be the old Shell Houston Open, but now it's been the Valero for the last several years in San Antonio. 9 of the last 12 years, the event has been won by somebody who was not in the Masters field. So this is the last chance to get in. The winner, if he's not already exempt, does get in this field this week, like Akshay Bhatia did last year over Denny McCarthy. I did play one guy that is in the Masters field, and that's Daniel Berger, who got in because he's in the top 50 in the world golf rankings. This guy's getting close. he's getting close to winning again. 7 top 25s in his last 9 starts, couple runners-up at the RSM where he kept his card, and at the Phoenix Open, distant second to Thomas Detry. But this is a guy, I think that he's motivated. His sole focus, I don't think he's focused on Augusta. I think he's focused on winning again. Because it's been about 4 years, because remember, he missed a year and a half with that back injury. And he's won the week before a major before, twice as a matter of fact, back-to-back years, 16 and 17 in Memphis at the St. Jude Classic when that was a June event. So he's going to have his focus on this event. So Daniel Berger, I played at 35. I think he's still 30 out there. Another guy who I think is getting close, certainly his college teammate and his good buddy Justin Thomas is saying so, and that's Bud Cauley, who is at around 50-1, who missed a lot of time with injuries. He missed like over 3.5 years because he had that car accident in 2018, and then in 2020 he had some medical complications. So he didn't return until early last year, but he's starting to – this is a guy that we thought was going to be like this can't-miss prospect, right? He was former world #1 amateur, but he hadn't yet won on the PGA Tour. But T6 is the player, T4 is the Valspar. So he's coming in on good form, I think, too. And then another guy kind of in the same price range, a little more horse-for-course guy, considering he's runner-up here 2 years ago, and then had 2 other top 20. Stan Stevens at 55-1, who was runner-up to Harris English back at the Farmers, almost chased him down. Fortunately, he didn't because we got Harris home there. But T18 last week in Houston led the field for stroke gain around the green. So Stevens, 55-1. Then another roll tide, another University of Alabama guy. How about Lee Hodges? I got him 71, but he has been getting hit big time in the market. He missed 6 weeks with a rib injury before he came back last week in Houston. T11, 2 top 10s in the ball swing, couple top 10s already this year at the Sony and at the Farmers. 4th in total driving, 6th in stroke gain putting overall this season, 6th here in 2023 for Lee Hodges. And then a guy that appeared on the model here, Rico Hoey at 70-1, T11 last week in Houston. Best approach performance of the season, 9th in GIR. He's one of the best drivers on the PGA Tour. 2nd in total driving, 2nd in stroke gain off the tee. So he has that right mix of distance and accuracy. Ryan Gerard, 75-1, top 10 last week in Houston, 2nd in the field on approach. So I'm always going to rely on an irons guy, especially here at TPC San Antonio, where approach, I think, is the most important thing. 6th in last week's field, couple top 20s already this year. And then the triple-digit guys, Tom Hoagie, 100-1. Got to have a flusher like Hoagie, who is always near the approach, stroke gain approach list, and 5th in this week's field. 2 top 12s and 5 career appearances. And then the Frenchman, Victor Perez, 125-1, 18th last week, 66 in round 1, 65 in round 4, 18, 22, 18 in his last 3 events. So there's some bombs that have won here in years past, some 150, some 200-1. So you could put a couple of them, and I think Victor Perez might fit that bill.
Wes, who you got in the Final Four Saturday?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Gators again. Haven't seen a lot of line movement. Maybe just go money line. If you remember Auburn had won 14 in a row, and they were 9-0 in the SEC, and they were #1 in the country, and the Gators went on the plane and dominated them. I know it was 90-81 was the final score, but that was more cosmetically pleasing final score. They were up 20 on these guys for a lot of the game, and I don't know what Broom's health is. I assume he's going to be good to go, but Todd Golden, I just think, knows how to attack these guys. Remember, Golden was on Pearl Auburn back in 14-16, and you can't play this drop coverage, and I wonder if Bruce Pearl's going to try that again, because Florida's got shooters, man. And the one thing about Florida, who was the talk of the town, they were like, oh, yeah, this is the team to beat. They were so dominant in Nashville in the SEC tournament. They hadn't had their A game. They were probably lucky to get by Texas Tech. Unfortunately for me, they had a Texas Tech future. Texas Tech just missed too many front ends of foul shots, and then Florida hits a couple threes, and then that was all she wrote. So I'll probably be on the Gators. And then in the second game, I think the number's about right. I think Duke wins the ball game. I think Duke is still the team to beat of these 4. But you're probably going to get a little lower scoring game. It won't be like the Sweet 16, though, last year. Remember when they had 56 possessions? It was 54-51 between Duke and Houston. But that Duke team didn't have Cooper Flag. So you've got to let him go get his shot inside and outside whenever he wants, even against a good defense. Probably maybe a lower scoring first half, like an under 64, I can see, because I'll be interested to see what these shooting backdrops are in the Alamo Dome. Because sometimes those can be cavernous. So probably under early, and then it picks up a little bit in the second half. But you don't want to underestimate Houston. Kelvin's got grown-ass men on that team, and they play like it. And they absolutely – I didn't think that they were going to swallow Tennessee like they did in the regional final in Indy, but they certainly did.
I was surprised as well. Wes, to Indiana basketball, and Darian DeVries hire at Indiana. They pass on Chris Beard. It looks like it's getting some momentum, and I expect Chris Beard to take the job at Texas A&M. My contact said he was kind of looking. There's a ceiling in Oxford, even though they were in great shape. The SEC got half the Final Four, and Arkansas and Ole Miss were right there for the Elite Eight, but they could not finish the job. Is Texas A&M a better job than Indiana? Or Indiana a better job than A&M? I mean, history with one coach or no history at all? I mean, Beard, the little stain? Are you being the morality driven, at Indiana? Just some thoughts about it seems like they could have had Beard.
Yeah, a little bit of everything that you just said, Jimmy, because, Chris Beard, they were worried about maybe some other things in his past that hadn't come out. I don't want to say what they are because that'd be unfair because these are accusations. But Louisville and Michigan also did not look at Chris Beard. So I think that spooked Indiana a little bit. But Beard's a Texas guy, Texas A&M. I think upgrades there. I'm pretty much in the middle on Buzz Williams as coach. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's great. I think he mismanaged that game against Texas in the SEC tournament. But Buzz was, I think, looking to get out because Texas A&M has like 8 seniors. So he was looking to get out, and he found a taker there in Maryland, and that's what Buzz does. He gets you in a better place, and he wins for you, and then he leaves, And Buzz is a little bit of a grating personality, too, and Maryland may find that out. But I think this would be a great hire for Texas A&M to bring Chris Beard back. And, he's a Texas-born guy, and that's where coaching roots are, and I think he's always kind of wanted to get back there. So I expect that that's probably going to happen.
I'll be shocked if Chris Beard doesn't have success at A&M. Shocked. Now, there's different levels of success, but, I mean, I think this is one that he's excited about. I mean, he got all the he demanded. When he took the Ole Miss, okay, I'll take it. Here's my number. I think it was 3.4, 3.8, whatever it was at that time a couple seasons ago, and they gave it to him. That's not we haven't seen Ole Miss's athletic department of booster base been that supportive in the past. And they did it in football and basketball, recently. And it takes a certain coach to excite that booster base, but. Man, he knows he can get so much more at A&M. I mean, so much more. So, I
think you get better talent there, too, in that Dallas-Fort Worth area. That is a big-time hotbed of basketball talent, and really all over the state.
Yeah, he knows the state. He knows the state, as well. So, but he'll have that player, salary base. So that's it. So we'll see.
Can I sneak a pop culture thing in here? Because I can't talk to Jimmy about this, Wes. I saw you post about it earlier today. But one of my favorites, we lost the Iceman yesterday. We lost Doc Holliday. Val Kilmer
Charlie,
passed
I know
away.
Who Val Kilmer is.
I know you do, but you
Come
don't like to talk about stuff like this. Wes,
because I hang out right by where Top Gun was shot. Delmar. Come on, Charlie.
One of my favorites. We lose Val Kilmer yesterday, man. I saw you post about it.
Yeah, look, and Val Kilmer, he wasn't just like an actor in movies. This is a guy that became a bona fide movie star. Somebody that literally, drives box office and has been in big movies and really a great actor who never got the credit he deserved, I think, from the critics. I don't believe he ever won an Academy Award or anything, but was in so many big movies, starting with Real Genius back there in 1984 at a absolutely great career. 65, man. That's still way too young. Look, it's never a right time to pass on, but just so young at 65. He'd been sick for a few years, so very sad to hear that news.
He should have won for Tombstone. He should have won Best Supporting Actor for Doc Holliday. He was phenomenal in that movie. That was great. That was great.
There you go. Okay. Wes, let's keep it going, baby. Let's go, man. We're pulling for you.
Man. Let's roll on all the way to Augusta next week.
Let
Yes,
him cook.
indeed. All right, let Wes cook. Thank you, Wes. Follow Wes on Twitter at WesReynolds1. Our friends at Go Automotive have a great selection of new cars: Chevy, GMC, Hummer, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. You rather pre-owned vehicle? Man, we've got the contacts where we can find you any vehicle that you're looking for. Our service department, how about this, offers VIP service. You never have to come to the dealership. We'll pick up the vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner, service the vehicle, and return it when done. Mention my name for VIP pricing. And also another thing that you could do is go to the website. And what I did was I went through Go Chevrolet, and they sent me to the website, and you pull up your Tahoe, and it's called Build and Buy. What size motor do you want? What size engine do you want? What size, leather or cloth? All the different, exactly the color, interior, exterior, the rims, the wheels, you name it, so you can almost customize it. Takes 2 to 3 months to come in if that's what you want to do. I'll just talk about the folks over at Go Automotive. I drive a vehicle from Go Automotive. Go see my buddies Lee Carney and Nick Richard at Go Automotive in LaPlace and Plaquemine.
Consensus Golf Picks when we come back, presented by Dana Brown. We're at Modesto live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our Wednesday Consensus Golf Picks are brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown.
In that intro too, that is actually Dana Brown, screaming.
Screaming?
Yeah, yes. That is actually him.
I appreciate it.
He came in the studio, and Jordan and Cade and I, we all got together, and we said, "Could you show us a little enthusiasm here, DB?"
Did we give him a talent fee on that? Usually you get paid for that stuff.
This was after, we hit like a 90-1 shot.
Oh, see,
gratis.
Yeah, I got it.
Strike with irons hot, boy.
In a better, better mood.
Come
on. Got it.
All right, Max, let's get to it. We've got a list of common picks, consensus picks this week, and I think one unanimous. Is that right? Or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, you're on an island by yourself, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I have one common pick with Wes. I'm kind of bummed out. I'm a little jealous. I missed out on Wes and Jeff with Minwoo last week. I haven't hit a winner in 6 tournaments, so I need to get one going after a hot start. Going to start off with someone who's great for getting a win if you're really hungry for one before the Masters, and that's Tommy Fleetwood, who's never won in the United States, but he's 19-1. At some places, and he's just the best player in the field right now based on how he's playing. Ludwig Oberg, much better player, no doubt, but right now, the way they're playing, I would take him over anybody in this field. And yes, he doesn't win, but he is flushing the ball right now, and that's what you need here. You don't really need to be an elite driver here. It's pretty much irons, approach play, and find a hot putter. He's been putting well as of late. Finished tied for 7th in his first appearance here last year, so he's shown that he can do it at this golf course, and he's a good wind player, and we're going to see a little bit of wind Friday and Saturday in the second and third rounds. So Tommy Fleetwood starts my card. Maybe he'll finally pull through with his first victory on the PGA Tour. Denny McCarthy, 32-1, someone who finished runner-up here last year. By all means, his final round, he should have won this tournament, but Akshay Bhatia just had a massive lead to start it. He is playing well as of late, gaining over 3 shots on approach in his last 5 tournaments. Also a great putter traditionally, maybe the best putter on the PGA Tour over the last 5 seasons. And as I mentioned, the runner-up finish here to cap off what's been a pretty good run for him at this Valero Texas Open. Also has a couple more top 20 finishes here. Tom Kim, 45-1, a native. Well, maybe not a native Texan because he's originally South Korean, but he lives in Texas, and he's back in his home state. That certainly helps, coming off the Florida swing where he was pretty mediocre. His putter was pretty flat, but there's something about these Texas courses. They tend to translate, especially if you're from here. A lot of the Texas courses, if you play well at one, you play well at a lot of them, and he's done well in the Texas swing in the past. I just see his iron play is really strong right now, and so that should definitely translate to this golf course where you have to hit some long irons on a few of these holes. Sometimes your approach shots are over 250 yards out. Ben Griffin, 60-1. Wes mentioned that there are a few players that tend to do well here when they're trying to get in the Masters field. Ben Griffin, great player, not in the Masters field next week. This is his last opportunity to get into next week's field, and his iron play has been very good. Stellar last week at the Houston Open, just had a really cold putter, but traditionally he's been a pretty good putter in his career, so I think that bounces back this week. Not two great finishes at this event. He's only made the cut once here, but I like Ben Griffin in his form. Maybe he'll pop off and get a victory, his first on the PGA Tour, considering he needs it for the Masters next week. And a couple longer shots. Ryan Fox at 90-1, someone who played very well last week. He is a big guy. He's actually the son of a New Zealand All Blacks rugby player, so he's got that build to him that you would see him as a rugby player. But 15th overall last week after being in the final group last week. Just kind of melted down on Sunday, but he's another player who needs a win this week to enter the Masters field. Gained on approach in his last 4 starts, so I expect another good performance for him. Maybe not a win, but he'll give it a shot at 90-1. And then finally, Tom Hoagie, who Wes gave out earlier, at 100-1, just playing a guy who's a flusher, as Wes mentioned. Elite ball striker, has a decent run at this tournament. It's kind of top-heavy. There's a few missed cuts in there, but tied for 9th in 2016, a 12th place finish back in 2021. That was the last time he played here, so he's taking a little bit of a break from this tournament. But in his last event, finished 3rd at the Players. That's a pretty elite field that he finished 3rd in. Maybe with this field, with that same performance, he would have won. So Tom Hoagie, 100-1, needs to find a hot putter, traditionally a weakness for him, but has shown a decent flat stick in his past 2 starts.
All right, so you and Wes are both on Hoagie, and then our common picks from the others are Berger. We've seen 30-1.
35.
Where's that at?
We'll look and see. That's pretty much FanDuel has that, but you can find 30-1, a boosted 35-1 at Bet Rivers as well.
All right, Hoey?
Rico Hoey.
Rico Hoey. Okay, what's the odds on him?
He's up to 80-1, but you can find some boosted Bet Rivers at 75-1, I believe.
All right, Lee Hodges.
Lee Hodges also available at 75-1.
All right, Bud Cauley.
Bud Cauley, 55-1.
See the former world #1 amateur?
Yes, he was a very good player, but had a health problem in part of his career and has really fought to get back to the PGA Tour.
And then Ryan Gerard.
Let's see, where is he? Best odds for him, we're seeing 75-80-1.
All right, again, so Daniel Berger, Rico Hoey, Hoey, Hodges, Lee Hodges.
Yep, 75-1.
Ryan Gerard and Bud Cauley, Cauley, and then Hoagie. So we got quite a few. So bombs away, shotgun style this week for our consensus picks, brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime. 343-1111, and man, they do it all. Over at Dana Brown. I mean, you name it. I mean, we're not trained attorneys. We don't know if we need legal assistance. We don't know if we're entitled to more, if our rights are being infringed upon, or we know. No, that's just the way it goes. You really don't have a case. You're going to let us know exactly that. Whether it's just straight traffic tickets. I mean. DWIs, criminal law. I mean, you name it. The criminal defense, estate planning, our great team of attorneys, Chris Perrette, David Connican, Susan Brown, Dana Brown, all over there. Free consultation. Go to our website at ocbrown.com, or you can just give us a call at 343-1111. Again, that free consultation lets us review your case at no cost to you. So taking the time to get to know you and understand your legal goals and objectives as well. Just getting on the same page before we decide if we want to pursue this or not. Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111.
LSU men's basketball adds another out of the transfer portal. We'll tell you about that when we come back and wrap it up here at Modesto Live at Lunch 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Pirates have staked Paul Skeens to a 1-0 lead as they're in the third inning with the Rays, one of about a half a dozen games that are going on. Well, one of them's in a rain delay. Early on in Major League Baseball. LSU men's basketball has added guard Rashad King from Northeastern, all-Colonial first-team pick. He was their leading scorer. 32 games, averaged 18.5 points, 6 rebounds a game, shot 45% from the floor. Very good free throw shooter, shot 85% the last 2 seasons, 32% from three-point range. Third guy in the transfer portal that they have picked up behind Didon Thomas and Michael Nwoko from Mississippi State. So,
where's this guy on your top 7,500?
Evan Maya ranks him 1101 in college basketball last year. The one concern,
we'll see.
Yeah. Where would just to be fair here, where would they have ranked Dalton Knecht coming out of Northern Colorado 2 years ago?
I can look that up
because I don't want to just say, oh well, the guy played in the Colonial,
sure.
So he's no good, because we've seen all kinds of guys come out of.
Where was Clayton?
Yeah,
coming out of Iona.
Right, exactly. So we've seen all kinds of guys come out of lower programs and be real impact guys at the next level. So I don't.
No, I mean you don't know.
Right,
I mean, you don't know doesn't mean Charlie sucks. I mean, you don't know. I mean, he's got potential. If he's shooting 85% from multi years from the free throw line, he's got some touch. I've seen some guards, but for a 6'6" guy, I mean, 32% he could build on that.
The numbers are good.
No,
the numbers
are fine. They're active. But they were active last year. They brought in a handful of guys through the portal. But I mean, this is it. I mean, you can't run this back again. I mean, this is too much as it is to run this back. We're at Modesto. We can see campus from here. Spring break. It's easy peasy getting through campus today. But there's not another sport on that campus where they would roll this back again.
Nope.
And so, man, just go to the games. I mean, it's not a whole lot there, and you can't. I mean, this is it for him. Can he get to the tournament like Rodney Terry and lose a game and still survive?
I think that's the real question. If you're 7-11 in the league, you get into the tournament, and you get beat.
You got to win a game in tournament,
Or you got to go in with a much better record. You got to go in there, 11-7 or something like that.
Knecht was 1591, by the way, coming in.
Okay, good.
There you go, Charles. To your point.
Yeah, there you go.
He worked out, huh?
Yes, very well. Tomorrow we're at Walk-Ons right next door. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.